Hello everybody, hail Satan. Welcome to a completely new episode or a minisode that we are going to record for you tonight. I have my dear friend Leraje with me here.
Hail Satan.
And I am Ligeia. The book we are covering tonight or today is a book that I had no idea existed, which is, I am a little bit ashamed, but I'm also very, very happy that I now do know about this book. So everybody who has heard about this book is going to like, oh, where is this girl living? Like under two fucking rocks or what?
Well, you can't know every book in the world.
Yeah, but this one, I'm sorry. So the name of the book is Piranesi, and it was written by Susanna Clarke in 2021. She won a few prizes with this book, so it's not just like a random thing. It is a book that is well recognized, well known, except of me. So I'm trying to correct this in my life. Okay, so please have mercy, people. Yeah, so basically we can start.
It's a second sort of novel length work, because she did Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, didn't she, as well?
Yes.
Which was a debut novel.
That was a big book.
That's a big book.
Yeah. I didn't read that one. I haven't. I guess you did.
I did, yeah. But it's a real commitment. You're going to be putting a few weeks aside to get through it.
Yeah, it's like more than 1,000 pages, I think, or something like that. So
it's massive. Yeah.
After reading this book, I am actually thinking about it because I really loved this one, but maybe I need a little time to just brew this one. Like, I really, really want to suck everything out of this one. And probably I will read this one 2 more times at least. So,
to be honest with you, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is best read in the winter time, I think.
Okay.
When it's dark outside and you can hear the wind blowing.
Okay, I'm starting to loving it.
Yeah. Anyway, but we're talking about Piranesi. Yes.
We try. Every time we try to keep it actually like scheduled or something structured.
Minisode.
Yes. Okay, so this book is not that long. It's 248, I think, pages. So for me, that's ideal. Like under 300 pages, doable, easy to follow. I love that amount of pages. I don't mind if it's a little bit longer, but like, I think this is when you have life and kids and stuff going on, and you still want to enjoy a book or a story, and you want to not just like run through it. I think this is perfect. So
yeah, I agree.
She did a great job. And because you mentioned the first book, I just want to say there was 15 years between the 2 books she wrote.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I think she was very successful with the first one. For me, that's like, I don't know, respect to this lady, because she wasn't pushing it like, oh, people love this book, I'm gonna write the book every year. She waited until she maybe felt like this is the right time. I love that. I don't know if that's true.
No, I think that's very much the case. But it's also true that she's an ME sufferer. Yeah. So, I think it takes quite a lot out of her I mean, writing Jonathan Strange must have nearly killed her, because it is so big. Such a commitment to write.
Would you like to start maybe?
So Piranesi is, on the face of it, a story about a person who's in a liminal space type environment. So here we are with our liminal spaces again, Ligeia.
Yeah, we love them.
And it's this liminal space is in the form of a grand house, which in my mind, I don't know, I kind of envisage it as a kind of like Italian
Yeah.
Mansion. Do you know what I mean? That kind of
like classical.
Yes.
Beautiful Greek Roman sort of
Yeah, that's
stuff.
a better description. Yeah.
That's also in my mind, but that's what she describes, so I guess.
Yeah. And the character is called Piranesi, but not by himself, because there is one person who is in the house alongside Piranesi, the other. And the story is basically a slow reveal of Piranesi's backstory and how it is that they live in the house and what happens to them. We decided, I should say at this point, before we started recording this episode, there's absolutely no way we can avoid spoilers, really.
It's impossible.
Yeah. So I would say at this point, if you haven't read the book and you really want to, stop listening.
Or there are people who actually don't mind little spoilers. Like, we're not gonna, maybe, I would avoid the ending. Like, completely. But I don't think doing the spoilers for this book is such a sin. Because for me, I spoke to you and other few people about this book before I read it. And actually it helped me to get the motivation to read it. Because if you just look at the cover, the last page, like, oh, what is this book about? It's really difficult to understand what is this book going to be? So maybe for some people, it's not going to be such a problem. We just want you to know it's going to be like, we are going to reveal a few things, but it doesn't change the...
Yes.
I don't think. But if you don't want the spoilers, why are you here? Because we spoil every book.
We do. We always say we're not going to, and then we go ahead and spoil everything.
Yeah, it's just, we are just too innocent.
We're terrible podcasters, that's the thing.
Exactly.
We're not good at this. Oh, dear.
We do what we do.
We do what we do. So, here's Piranesi in the house and the other. What would you say about the other?
About the other? Yeah, that's the name in the book. It's actually the capital O, so people are not confused. Why do we not name him? So, it's interesting to look at the relationship between Piranesi and the other from the point of view of Piranesi. And then like include your own thoughts, because this whole book is unraveling in front of you. The whole story is not an action book. It is a piece of art. So please, people, if you are looking for like entertaining battle or I don't know what, it's not there. You need to, it's a sit and read book, which that's why I said like the page amount is good, because it's a book that you actually need to really enjoy. It's not difficult to follow. It's not complicated. I love her writing style because it is really, really easy to follow the thoughts. But actually the story is based on, we don't know, like the beginning is like, you don't know why we are in this enormous, gigantic house. There is description of the house, which is so unique and weird. The scale of it is enormous, but like, and then you have this one person, Piranesi, living there. And you don't know, like, what? Of course, it's a fantasy book. So, okay. Yeah. You understand that. You go into this book with that, like, people who don't like fantasy books maybe don't. But still, it is a unique space. And then you have this other that somehow is sometimes there. And the first 20 pages, you don't know why. And like, what is happening? Is this a dream? What's gonna, like, I need to know more. You still want to know more. This story is so beautifully written. Like, you want to continue because it does change. The perspective shifts.
Yes, it's kind of like when we first meet the other, that's the first sign that things are not possibly as straightforward as we think they are.
It's a first little knot.
Yeah, because I think you're right. The initial feeling is, oh, it's a fantasy novel. We're in a fantasy setting. Yeah. We're going to have a fantasy story.
Yeah.
And it is a fantasy story.
It is.
But it's also about one person's slow realization that their reality is not actually based on truth.
Yeah.
And the first hint of that we get is when our first kind of like introduction to the other. And it becomes fairly clear after that. I mean, Clarke kind of spoils the story herself, by dropping little hints and outright kind of like statements about what's going on.
But you don't know that. I must say, the first few pages, I was like, oh God, is this lady forgetting what she said before? Like, this doesn't make sense. I think she made a mistake. And I was like, oh, I will hate this book. And it's not true.
And then,
she knew what she was doing. It was just my, I don't know, brain thinking I'm so freaking clever that it's not true. Hey, Ligeia, it is not true. Just read.
Yeah, she did do that very well.
I loved it. But there were these few seconds of me being like, no, please don't. I want to enjoy this book. Why are you doing this? So I love that about the book.
And she does that a few times.
Yes.
That kind of like, okay, now I understand what's going on. And
she
then
did it so well.
30 or 40 pages later, and there's another little twist, and you think, actually, I'm still wrong. I'm still not quite sure what's going on.
Yeah, and I was so humbled, like, I thought I sorted out the universe. Nah. Okay. And also, I would like to just insert one thought about what you said about the architecture, and you also thought it reminded you of mythology. And I think she was playing on this idea because of the fawn, the cover, and also Piranesi, which actually, I think you know this, but maybe somebody doesn't. Like, the name is not random.
No, it's
There
not.
was this artist called Giovanni Battista Piranesi, and he was famous for many things, but he also was drawing beautiful labyrinths and prisons, which are so confusing. And it's just, if you can just Google or whatever, you will find these drawings. And I think the labyrinth, the theme of maze, she knew why she chose that name.
Yeah, I sent you a quote from an interview that she gave after Piranesi came out. And she talked about our old friend, you say his name because I can't remember his name, Jorge.
Oh, you mean Borges?
Yes.
I think that's how you say it. I forgot the middle name or whatever. Borges.
And because he wrote the short story that inspired A Short Stay in Hell. And Clarke said in this interview that she had read that short story by Borges, but then she remembered she'd read another one, and she was shocked by the kind of like similarity between this second story, which is directly about the labyrinth, the kind of like the Greek labyrinth myth with the Minotaur and all that.
Minotaurs, yes.
Yeah, and her take on it in Piranesi. And she actually said, I think the line was, sometimes it isn't a new story, sometimes it's a rediscovered old story that you've forgotten. Yeah,
which is actually, I don't know, it gave me goosebumps because, how does it even happen?
Yeah.
It was so beautiful. It doesn't really matter if, the inspiration comes from something you just forgot and you read when you were younger, or it's just somewhere there and some minds just work in similar way and they might come up to some certain similarity in their writing or painting, whatever. And then it just, it rings a bell when you see it and you go, oh, this is actually how I think. this is the way my art comes to be. So it's interesting.
No, I think that's
beautiful.
true. I think that's true, but I don't think any work of art can really exist independently of its roots or its inspiration.
It's language, so
yeah, we're all kind of like inspired by things, even if it's subconsciously, and we've forgotten the original source of the inspiration.
Or it's something, and in your life, in your mind, it twists to something new, but the inspiration was something that somebody else wouldn't even recognize, that this is what gave birth to this, but this is my take on it, or this is like, it went through my body and my brain, and now this is the result. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So
the house. Yeah. It's a unique house.
Yeah.
Because it has clouds, it has rain, it has snow, it has an ocean. In some floors, and in the ocean are fish and shellfish, and the ocean has tides. There are stars outside the house, and there is a moon, but the house is also the world, as far as Piranesi is concerned.
Yeah.
And as far as Piranesi thinks the other is concerned, the house is the world. But to me, the sort of like defining feature of the house were the statues.
Oh, yes. I can't stop thinking about that house. It's such a weird place. I don't want to forget how the book made me feel. I actually really felt like I have left this world.
Yeah. I completely, to be completely honest, I adored the house.
Me
I would
too.
love to have been there.
Oh, I would love a movie, or I'm really scared if a movie exists, which I think somebody is making.
Yeah.
I know. I am a little bit scared because I want it to look like it looks in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I completely agree.
So I'm a little bit scared. But also I never want to lose that, what she did. Like it's a memory I want to keep and take care of, because the house, I have never read anything like it. And she made it so like easy. Like, how do you do it in so like 200 pages, and it sticks with you?
Her writing style is very kind of matter of fact. It's very kind of this and this and this.
Yeah.
But there's which is not to say it's plain and boring, but it's very kind of like, this is what the house looks like. This is, and it's very kind of stylistically ordinary writing, but at the same time creates a mood and a picture that is beautiful.
It's beautiful, and it's very kind. It doesn't make you feel silly, stupid, small. Well, the house does make you feel small in another way, but she writes in a way that I think she's a very intelligent lady, because she could have used many, huge sentences, big words, which is okay. You can show off like that. Oh, I'm an educated person. I know how to use words. But the art is to write huge things, huge thoughts in the simplest way possible. That makes her very lovable. And the whole, like, the Piranesi character is just lovable.
He is. He's lovable,
adorable,
and he's kind, and he's, to a large extent, he's a very innocent person.
Absolutely. I don't know how we ended up. You asked me about the other, but like, I think we're doing well. We are floating around it.
We're kind of, this is what we do. We're just going to have to accept the fact, this is what we do. We start off with a plan, and then we just go off on
Well, I just
tangents.
hope people can actually feel the love we have for what we do here, and this is how it looks. We are not, I have some notes, but the love is just like overwhelming, and I want to share it so much. I just babble around.
Here's a quote from the book, which kind of like encapsulates the kindness, I think.
Yeah.
And it is, the beauty of the house is immeasurable. Its kindness infinite.
Yeah.
And that to me is just that it's one sentence that sums up everything that's good about this book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's open for so many ways. You can just read it in so many ways. Like, the interpretation is open, I think. Like, what is the house? Is it the actual world? You can, like, people who believe in God can see it, you know, as the gods, I don't know, created this world and this is, you know, his love. People who don't believe in God, like us, it is the beauty of the world we have and how we should probably think. Like, this book has changed my views in many ways. I don't want to sound, it's like a huge sentence that I'm just saying, but it does. If you really want to take as much out of this book as you can, because it allows you, it offers a lot. It really can change something in, like, the attitude towards like normal life situations that we have. It is also like the love towards the house. Because I don't know how you felt, but it was scary. He was alone.
Yeah, there's this constant kind of tension between the fact that Piranesi feels lonely all the time.
Yeah.
But also absolutely adores the world in which he lives and is grateful to the house for providing him with food to eat via the sea and fuel in the form of seaweed that he can dry out and burn and all these things. And of course, the other brings him things as well.
Oh,
Which we'll get onto in a bit. But yes, it's this kind of. I think there is a tendency to sort of, in some people's writing, some authors' writing, to sort of like introduce drama into every situation and make it dramatic and strong. And Clarke, in my mind, does the exact opposite. It is still strong. It's strong writing, but it shows, it makes the world, the house, a kind of good, nice place to be, despite the difficulties that Piranesi faces.
Yeah.
He's still very, very happy to be there.
He's very happy and he feels like this is a blessing for him. And he takes everything that the house offers as a huge gift and he wants to give back. So even though when I was reading it, I was like, oh my goodness, you poor guy, like, you are happy with, like, you are hungry, you don't have shoes, and you're still happy that you can collect rainwater in these plastic bowls that the other brought for you, like, and he was happy to actually look for the best places in, like, the statues, like little niches where the bowls would be safe. And remember how he was happy that he had, I think, 3 of, like, really bright colors.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't find the ones that were white. It was really difficult for him, like, if I could only find them. But he was never angry. He was just, how do I make it better next time for myself? Like, this house offers me so much. I wouldn't want to waste that water that is being collected for me. He is not like, oh, I hate this freaking place. It's awful and I have to just walk around and everything hurts and I'm wet. No, he never once he did that, no. which is my usual state. Like, oh, why is this like that? I hate it. Like, And this book made me feel so bad about that. Like, maybe I should start at least 5 times a day. Maybe I should be Piranesi.
Be more Piranesi.
Exactly.
A lesson for us all.
But like, you will not make anything worse. You can only make everything better for yourself and everybody around you if you are just not so like me. You know, like the responsibility, which is responsibility. I have the ability to respond. I can't control what's happening, not everything, but I can and I should start thinking how I react to things, you know? And that's just like one shift that can happen. Small little stuff.
Yeah, I think that kind of, that sense that Piranesi is grateful for the world and grateful that he exists within the world.
Mm-hmm.
that again I mean, we said earlier that he's a very innocent character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, bearing in mind what you were just saying, we could all possibly stand to be a little bit more, maybe not innocent to the point of being gullible or naive, but innocent in the fact that we can appreciate some things for what they are rather than the interpretation we put on them.
The innocence at itself, I think it's largely, how do I say it, misunderstood or used, like the term is used in like a negative way when it comes to adults, like, oh, you're so innocent. As you said, like it connotates with being naive or a little bit dumb or ignorant, which we are all ignorant at some points, like you can't just constantly.
No, nobody knows everything.
It doesn't work like that. So for me, the innocence with him is like almost childlike. It is enchanting. It's absolutely pure.
Yeah.
And he's not stupid.
Doesn't he describe himself at one point as a child of the house?
Yes, I am how did he say it? Like,
I am the beloved child of the house. Yeah.
He thinks the house loves him and like the statues are his friends. He makes notes about everything. He creates his own calendar. Like at the beginning we still don't know how this started. Like why is he there? But at the beginning he was putting like dates on like in the diary, whatever. And it was an unusual date, like 28th of May, I don't know, 2025. As he was writing it and he needed to create the whole structure of his life, of his days, of the tides, of the statues, of the rooms are never ending. And he needed to like somehow survive. So he started to, like, he was just naming the years or the month, according to what happened, which I thought is so beautiful and childlike.
Something like, was it, the fourth month in the year that the albatross came?
Yes, about the albatross. That was actually like, and he spoke to the birds like, okay, you sound like St. Francis. It's a little bit weird, but it's not true. He wasn't talking in a stupid way. We all talk to animals or, like I talk to my cats, or if a bird is attacking you or is in your way or is annoying, everybody says something. Yes, like, oh, why are you here? What do you want? So we just need to be okay with it. Why would that be stupid? And as I said, he was not stupid because not many people would survive what he was doing.
No. And that kind of like played into the eventual kind of very, very slow reveal. Of what was actually going on. I remember one of the first hints, apart from the word Battersea, one of the first hints that I got was he was talking about the statues.
Yes.
And he remarked upon one of the statues was an elephant with a castle on its back.
People who are not from here.
Yeah. If you're not from
might
the
not
UK.
know. Or maybe not from London. I think UK people would know.
Yeah.
But like specifically London. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, am I reading this? People, if you don't know, please Google it. You will find a map.
There's this dual thing of Susanna Clarke kind of like scattering these little clues through the book. But there's also the even more interesting question from my point of view was, are the statues pushing through from our world into the world of the house? Are some of them kind of crossing the dimension between the world that you and I live in to the world of the house? And if so, what does that mean? And does that also mean that some of the other statues are pushing through from other worlds that are not the house and not our world? Are there? And there's a section in the book where there's this kind of, later on in the book, there's this kind of, we get introduced to this, I wouldn't describe them as a cult exactly, but kind of, they're people interested in how other dimensions, other spaces exist. And they kind of mention the possibility that there are other, not just the house and not just our world, but other worlds. And I was trying, because the statues are such a big part of the book and the world of the house.
Yeah.
Where do they come from?
It's one of those things that I think you can use many ways of reading into that. One of which for me would be psychological, maybe even a little bit of like mental health approach of being somewhere in between the real and the surreal, or somehow other, which is not, I don't want to see any I don't like issues or problems. I don't see it that way. It is just different. So it might be those corridors between, and something about the hypnosis, for example, or being able, some people are able to manipulate the mind, either by, like using techniques, which is real, or even drugs, whatever. We don't know. What happened in this book, we don't know.
No. I mean, it's funny you should say that, because one of the things, when we get pretty certain that we know what's actually going on, one of the first things that occurred to me was the house actually a manifestation of a kind of like mental illness from Piranesi? And he's kind of like, was the house real? Did it actually exist? Or was it just something that Piranesi was kind of like projecting outwards from himself, and he'd placed himself in? But then, if that was true, later on, there's other.
Yes.
Can't
Spoilers.
avoid spoilers.
Yeah, I know.
There's other characters, and you realise that no, the house does actually exist. It is a real thing.
And the other is coming in twice a week. But that still doesn't disagree with the hypnosis or going into deeper layers of your consciousness, which you can't reach like on a daily basis. But there are techniques where you can. And maybe, what if, like the interpretations, what if Piranesi has been kidnapped and he is being held behind a wall, and this whole thing is just him, his mind protecting him, creating this world, the bowls with water, maybe his kidnapper is feeding him water, and he has no shoes, he's thin, maybe he doesn't even move, but he thinks he's walking. Maybe he sees these statues because he has not been out for years. And these are things he just somehow creates. He doesn't know what a tree is.
No.
He doesn't know what a river is there, but he doesn't really know what the nature looks like. He can see birds, but he has never seen a horse.
Yeah.
That's just one way. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's that kind of like disconnect. Purposeful disconnect, not an error by Clarke. When Piranesi talks about the fact that he knows certain words, but he can't associate them with something that he knows in his life.
And he knows his name is not Piranesi.
Yes.
He knows it's not his real name, and he keeps asking himself, why is the other calling me this? I don't mind, but I know it's not my name. And he doesn't know his name. So there is something like, it's still, he can't go to those places. Maybe he has been through some absolute horrific trauma, and these things are just now obscured because his mind is so hurt. Or maybe it's a real space. Maybe it's a real house. And maybe the statues are just interpretation of art, which is a question of, is the real world above the art? Are these statues lesser than the real people or the real trees? Or Is the art above, or are they equal? Or does the art change it? Because if you have art, there was a person who created this vision of, I don't know, the Minotaur. And then that means this statue also has something from that one person seeing this this way. So that is a value that nature doesn't have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think you're right. And I also, Clarke has got this writing trick that she makes Piranesi capitalise things. So that sentence I read earlier, the beauty of the house is immeasurable, its kindness infinite. The words beauty, house and kindness are all capitalised.
Yes, I wanted to get to that.
All right.
I do have an opinion because that was amazing. It reminded me of German language where they do concrete, proper nouns, like they capitalize. But I didn't know that. Yeah. But like in English, it was surprising to see. And as I was almost finishing the book, I realized, I hope it's not a lie in my brain. I hope this is true, but I think to the end, when the shift was happening, I will not spoil this, the capital letters slowly were disappearing. Yep. And I think that meant two things. The first one was the loss of the innocence, because Piranesi was in awe. He was in awe of everything. He was so grateful that he was naming things with like the capital, like water, house, bird, statue. Everything was just, like a child looking up to a mom or a dad. I've been there. When my kids were small, they used to see me as like, everything is possible for me. I can actually bring the stars. Like, mom, when they are like 2 or 3, they really think that. But I think his mind was so pure that he was even writing these words with capital letters. And as he was coming out of that shifted, and he was learning stuff that was breaking that innocence. Yeah. In a sense. And it was losing that power.
Is it a possible interpretation that Piranesi, that the book rather than the character, is it a story about someone who is getting worse and worse in terms of his mental health? Or is it a story of someone slowly regaining their sanity? Because to me, either interpretation is possible.
I agree. It depends on not how you read it. My first feeling when I was finishing the book was the second option. I thought he is gaining back his consciousness, his memory. He didn't want to go there. He didn't. He wanted to stay in the house.
And again, sorry, but this has just popped into my head. He was kind of a third unnamed person that we didn't really know at the end. Because he wasn't really Piranesi, because Piranesi lived in the house. And he wasn't Matthew, because Matthew was who he was before.
That's true.
So he's now this person we don't really know.
New person. Which could also be, this is just now happening. I'm sorry if it wouldn't make sense, but like, for example, the struggle, I have no better word, with self, how do I name it? Not even sexuality, but maybe just like, who am I?
Self-knowledge, self-awareness.
Self-awareness, maybe even we could take it to like, what pronouns would I identify as?
Sort of a process of self-actualization.
Maybe. Which he never mentioned any gender issues, but like, I could read it like that because Piranesi was somewhere, and half of the book I was thinking he might be one gender, and I was expecting something because he is only one person. So how does he know if he is male, female, or something? It could have been. It wasn't in the book. But I think I could see it. Like the third person was something in between.
Yeah, I think to Piranesi in terms of the character rather than the story. I think to them it would have been they wouldn't have really put a great level of importance on assigning a gender,
absolutely not,
sexuality, or any of the things that we are intrinsically us.
No, I just, maybe because I am really interested in how people deal with these things in this world that is so unfriendly towards, how people identify, which is something nobody else should even care.
No.
And so maybe I'm reading too much into this because it's a sensitive thing for me.
I don't think you are. I think it's true. And it goes to what you were saying earlier about Piranesi's innocence.
Yeah.
They exist in this kind of almost, I mean, you were saying earlier about a 2-year-old. That's kind of like the emotional level that Piranesi is kind of existing at in the first part of the book, which is why I say your average 2-year-old, I don't think thinks about themselves in terms of being male, female,
no,
straight, gay, black, white. They are just who they are.
If it's not injected from the surrounding people, kids are pure.
Yeah. And I think that was Piranesi in the first third quarter of the book.
Maybe I was thinking about that because of they were saying how they were trying to look nice and the hair was so long and they were putting all the little things they found into their hair. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Like little shells and
fish bones and stuff like that.
I thought this must have been so stinky and horrible, but Piranesi was so happy. And they were thinking, I'm doing this because I really want to look nice. And I want to carry this. Yes, I want to be pretty for the house. And I want to have these memories of the house and how blessed I am. And I was almost crying. This is so sweet. This is absolutely, you don't have shoes, guy. You don't have shoes. You have almost no food. If you don't move your ass every day, you have no food.
But you've got fantastic hair.
Yes, I couldn't. That was just absolutely sweet. Yeah.
Should we talk about Raphael?
Yes. Careful.
Yeah.
So...
Here there be major spoilers. In fact, I think haven't I actually said the word Matthew? I think I have.
Yes. But I don't think you spoiled it.
Okay. All right.
I don't think so. But I don't know how to not spoil this, so maybe I will be quiet for a second.
So one of the kind of things that Piranesi definitely is lonely. And they say several times throughout the course of the first half to 2/3 of the book that they wish there was someone else in the house with them. Not the other. The other comes and goes. And Piranesi eventually realises that there is someone else. At that point, we don't know this character's name. Raphael is a very important character in Piranesi's story and is kind of the living embodiment of what Piranesi has been missing in numerous ways, both in terms of companionship and also in terms of a direct connection to their origin. Is that
You did fair? So well. You did so well. I'm so proud of you. I was like, when you started shall we talk about Raphael? I'm like, oh, Satan. How? But you did so well. I will not add anything because I don't know how.
I mean, I'm kind of aware there's going to be people listening to this who have read it. And if I thought to myself, if we don't mention it, then they're going to be like, well, you didn't even talk about Raphael. You didn't talk about this, that and the other, blah, blah, blah. So I felt like we had to at least mention that particular character.
Yeah. And also, I would like to still go back to the other. I don't know, do we don't have to name him, his proper name? It doesn't really matter.
No.
Well, I will not. But I just wanted to see if you felt this, or what is your opinion about how Piranesi was like his heart, his pure heart. For example, Piranesi, as I said many times, didn't have anything. He was almost naked in like really ragged, horrible clothes, and you know, struggling. And then this guy coming there twice a week was always wearing completely new, spotless, beautiful clothes, suit, and a beautiful shirt, and beautiful shoes. And he was holding a, how did she call it? The sparkling object? No.
Shining device or something like that. Yeah. Which was clearly a mobile phone.
A phone. So that was one of the alarms, like, oh, Piranesi never seen a phone? Or did he forget? So how long has he been there? Anyway. But like the way Piranesi saw this guy having so much, and never once was he jealous or envied anything. I thought that was such beautiful thought or way to see, because you can compare yourself to your death with others every freaking day. It's a way to hell. Well, not hell. We love hell. I mean, to suffering. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. But you know what I mean? Like, if we compare each other or ourselves to people who have more, who are younger, who are, I don't know, just in our mind, it doesn't really, it's not true. I would never change my life for anybody else. But we still do it.
Yeah.
And I think the way he saw it was so beautiful, because he was like, I am so blessed that I am able to take care of myself. While this guy, the other, needs the house to give him all these things, because the house needs to feed him, because he's not able to do it. Not everybody is. This is what Piranesi was thinking. Like, I am so happy that the house takes care of the other, that I don't have to, because that would be a really huge job for me, and I might be a little bit weak for that. I struggle with myself, but I'm so happy this house gives so much to him, because they need it.
Well, yes, it's interesting that Piranesi realised that the other would not be able to survive in the house on their own.
That was a really, but like, you know what I mean? Like, if I see somebody, if you want to suffer, just go on Instagram and check other people's lives, or sort of blah, blah. We are old enough to know it's all lies, but still sometimes it just hurts. I don't know. It happens.
But one of the things that interested me, there's a part in the book when the other asks Piranesi to do a task for him so they can find a way to access what the other calls the great and secret knowledge.
Yeah.
And Piranesi says to the other, I will do that, but I need to have shoes.
Yeah. Because it's very far.
And it was striking that this was the first time that we'd heard or seen Piranesi actually directly asking the other for something.
For something.
Yeah. And they kind of, it was clear to me that Piranesi was a bit uncomfortable about having to ask.
Yes.
Did you get that impression?
I did, and I still am not sure how to read that. Maybe he thought, I think he actually did not really question how the other is having all these things.
No, never once did he
was
ask.
not really bothering his own mind with, like, questioning, oh, hold on a minute, how is it that I suffer this much and this guy? No, that's not the way he thought. So maybe when he had to ask, he maybe thought that the other will have to somehow not have those shoes because he will have to give them to, I don't know. I really don't know how to read that little detail.
I thought it might be that by having to ask the other for shoes, Piranesi might feel that he was questioning the wisdom of the house in not giving him shoes. Piranesi might have felt, oh no, I'm sort of questioning the wisdom of the house here.
Yeah, I am not grateful enough. Right. That makes sense. also the whole thing around the other and his motivation for coming to this house was in such a disbalance to Piranesi and his view of the house, because there was this beautiful sentence where Piranesi was saying something like, the house is beautiful just because it is. It doesn't need to mean anything. That's where it ends. The beauty is in its existence. And I'm not asking anything. We are like, I take care of the house. I worship the house. I love the house. And therefore I am like blessed with the gifts from the house. It's a harmony. It's a balance.
Yeah.
But the other was coming there because he wanted to just get something. The knowledge.
Yeah.
The knowledge,
the other,
some knowledge.
The great and secret knowledge. Yeah. The other saw the house as a resource to be kind of mined, and the resource to be extracted from and used by him.
Just used, yes.
Whereas Piranesi, very much like you were saying earlier, in that kind of childlike, or even that toddler-like stage of innocence, never questioned the house, never wanted anything from the house, was grateful for what the house provided, and never thought about asking why the house apparently gave so much to the other but didn't give to him.
Yeah, never questioning why does he have more than me, which is such a liberating thing to do in your own life. Like, what is the question even? Like,
well, yeah, exactly.
Hello.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, and then we better wrap up because we've been talking for nearly an hour.
Of course.
Do you think, well, yeah, Minisode. We're just going to have to stop calling them Minisodes, aren't we?
Maxisodes.
Maxisodes. Do you think the end was sad?
I do. I really want to reread, and I'm actually going to try to see if I can see the ending in some other way. There are ways to interpret the ending. It's not like straightforward.
No.
I don't think. So it's not like everybody will think the same. I think it was sad, which surprised me.
Yeah, because we talked earlier about the fact that we were really dealing at that point with a third character that we didn't really know that well. It was fairly obvious that they were in mourning for both of the lives that they'd lost.
Yes.
Well,
I was in mourning for Piranesi. I wanted to go back to that house.
Is there anything else we should talk about, do you think, before we wrap this up?
I just really thought about something now, I will just say one sentence.
Yeah, go on.
What about if the other is God? He just comes to get a look at you.
Oh, no.
Gives you a few things, and then he goes away, and he keeps the freaking puppet going.
We have to talk about that now.
Yeah, it's just... Maybe it's stupid, I don't know. Wrap it up.
It's not stupid
People,
at all.
Read it, and let us know what you think. And I think there is a movie coming out, so maybe if the movie is out, I think we will make a little episode about that.
I think...
I can't wait.
It's the same production company that did Coraline, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so it should be good.
I don't know the release date, if it's even this year.
No, I don't. I've got no idea.
I don't know. But, so it's animated.
Yes.
Is that the word? Yes.
Yeah.
So I can't wait, and I would like to then maybe compare the book and see how it goes.
Okay, so that's it for this episode, and we'll catch you again with another book that we both love, or another book which is new to us. Until then, hail Satan.
Hail Satan!
And we'll see you next time.